I'm sitting here with so much heartburn on this 33rd week of pregnancy. Have you ever wondered what private coaching does for people, what the full transformation could look like, what that journey is like, and why people do it? I thought who better to talk to you about it than one of my clients that's been with me on and off for probably over 18 months total of coaching over the last few years. And she found me after panic attacks and anxiety after her baby, and then continued to use coaching as a tool to really just blow up her life in the best way and also do simple things like align her motherhood and her work-life balance and her partnership and relationship with her husband. So enjoy this episode with my longtime client and now friend and also business owner of Wife Teacher Mommy, Kelsey Sorenson.
Welcome to the Postpartum Coach podcast, where we embrace our needs as moms, we learn to lead ourselves first, then our families, and where we create our own healing from the inside out to find our way to the work we were meant to do in this world. I'm your host, a fellow mom of 3 and a certified life coach, Lizzie Langston.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. It is a beautiful Tuesday. The weather here in Arizona is enviable. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, poor Kelsey. So I'm here.
Look outside and it is snowing on April 4th today.
Yeah, it's snowing. Sorry. I know. It's not snowing here. In fact, it's beautiful. I just needed a light jacket this morning and it's so sunny. So I am here with my friend, Kelsey Sorenson, who is also a past client and is also a fellow business owner and a fellow mom. She homeschools her children with the help of her husband. I have had the pleasure of working with her many months over the last couple of years. I feel so lucky. And she has just completely expanded as a person. It's been so fun to witness. She's hired a few different people to help her. I was the beginning of her experience hiring a coach, but she has since gone on to hire business coaches. And she's really just fallen in love with being really supported. And because of that, and because of her fundamental understanding of the value of being supported, she's really done a lot in the last couple of years to kind of upgrade and change her life, her work-life balance, her presence with her kids. Even throughout the pandemic, she had to completely pivot in her business as a full-time provider. And her story of, the power of having somebody in your corner to help amplify your awareness of your own mind, really. I mean, I'm not guiding your thoughts. Like a coach doesn't really do that. What we do is we reflect back to you your thoughts. We help you see what's going on in your mind. We give you different angles to help you pop out of the same thought patterns you're usually operating in and sort of expand to new consciousness or new awareness. And that's exactly what happened with Kelsey. And so we have created sort of an outline of her story, and we're so excited to share it with you and hope that it really helps you guys have a curiosity about how could I be better supported right now, whatever that might look like. Maybe it's coaching, maybe it's therapy, maybe I really just need to get into my physical body more and do a spin class or yoga or whatever it is. We hope that this episode really inspires you to be like, what's possible for me if I take inventory of what I need and I really make myself a priority? Like, how could my life change? How could I change my life? How could I up level? What could that lead to? So without further ado, Kelsey, I would love it if you could introduce yourself, tell us about you, your kids, your business, and just you, like who you are.
Okay. Yes, I would love to. And also I want to thank you for having me on the show today. And I've just loved working with you for so many years. It has been, and actually I want to mention, you said past client, but actually everybody, I hired Lizzie again to work with her right now because she's so good. So,
you're so sweet. And you're not postpartum at all really anymore.
No, my youngest is 3. He's the one who when I had the postpartum problems or whatever you call them, when I first started working with you, he's 3.5 now. So, yeah. But anyways, my name is Kelsey Sorenson, and I am a mom of 3. So I have an 8-year-old, he'll be 9 in a couple weeks. Lizzie and I, actually, our sons have the same birthday.
Yeah.
They became a mom on the same day. So
April
amazing.
23rd, 2014, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's so cute.
And we didn't discover that until we've been working together for quite some time. And we're like, oh, it's my son's birthday. Oh, it's my son's birthday.
That's cute. Yes, I remember. That's fun.
But then I also have a 6-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son as well. We homeschool them. And I've been married for, oh my goodness, 11 years.
Yeah.
Can I do math? I feel like, wow. I was like, I should know that.
Aren't you a teacher? No, I'm just kidding.
So it's 2011. So it'll be 12 years this year. Yeah. So I was correct. 11 years. I'm also the owner of the company Wife Teacher Mommy, which I started also in 2014 when my youngest was about 7 months old, and we support teachers, and it started with just resources. But now, because of this transformation through coaching, I've become a coach, and we offer coaching and events and stuff like that too.
We'll talk more about that.
We'll talk more about that. But yeah, I'm just really excited to be here today.
Yeah. And you are a teacher too, right? Like, did you ever teach in the, you support teachers.
So I taught third grade, and then I subbed after I had Parker. I subbed in kindergarten through sixth grades, like in elementary. So
yeah. And then pretty soon you were like, I think working from home and teaching my kids from home sounds like a sweet gig, but you also have the experience of what teachers go through. You're very well connected in my experience, as I've just talked to you over the years. You're really well connected with the needs of teachers, with what they do experience on the day-to-day basis. And you have a whole team of people who have experience teaching, and they basically create these amazing, just give us a glimpse of like, just give us a glimpse of what your business does offer. Like what, just for those who might be curious, even fascinated.
Yeah. So for those who are teachers, you've probably heard of Teachers Pay Teachers. It's kind of like a go-to site for a lot of teachers. So it's kind of, for those of you who don't, it's kind of like Etsy for teachers. We can go and like download printable files. A lot of parents find it really useful too, like even for just reviewing concepts with their kids, or if you homeschool. It's a great website. Yeah. I started just like throwing stuff up there, and like, as I was subbing, I was like, I'm going to put some stuff up to see, like, if I can kind of sell that too, because I needed stuff to bring when I was subbing, because there wasn't always enough information, or enough stuff to make it through the whole day. So I started that. But now it's like we have all kinds of resources. Like for one that's doing really well right now is like our 36 weeks of social emotional learning. It's like a full year curriculum of like teaching kids skills like self-awareness and self-management and responsible decision-making, things like it's really good. I'm doing it with my children right now. And that's what my team put together. I wasn't making the curriculum anymore at that point. And they just did such a good job, and they're experienced teachers too. So it's a lot of fun, like what we do together as a team.
Yeah. Amazing.
So yeah. And then now we do coaching. I've hired a teacher coach. I'm a coach now. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's so cool. So Kelsey, I'm just curious, if I wanted to start homeschooling my kids like next week or next month, could I go to your website and like probably find, stuff like?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we have like lots of resources. Like I would say like ours is more of like, it's not like we have like a curriculum where it's like open and it's like absolutely everything you need for the whole year. It's more like we've got like supplemental curriculum for like everything. Like we've got math reviews, we've got fluency practice, we've got reading passages. So it's kind of like where you get to like go and pick the resources that you would like to use. And then for some of them, like we do have like that full like social emotional learning curriculum that's like every day for the whole year. That's probably the most complete curriculum that we have. But we just have tons of, and then we have like things for monthly themes, which kids love, parents love. They're lots of fun. Fun. So like writing prompts for the month of April, or like spring themed and everything, or fun. Easter. And like, so we have like tons of holiday themed stuff. We have like party packs that are educational. So if you're that mom who's like, oh yeah, I want to do something really fun for St. Patrick's Day with my kids, like we've got you totally covered.
Oh my gosh.
But like we've got like
That's
everything.
Amazing. I actually didn't know all that. I haven't ever asked you this many questions about your business, just because we're usually talking more bird's eye, like over your whole life, a little bit business, a little bit this, and we're tweaking like more functioning things and your nervous system and like your health. And so it's kind of fun to hear more of these details. Thanks for sharing. That's very cool. Of course. Okay. So let's talk about what first drew you to sort of getting more support. I think for a lot of us, our first mental health crisis can lead us to, get support from this place of need. And I think one of the messages Kelsey and I both feel passionate about, having both been through a mental health crisis postpartum, is that coaching and getting support, but specifically coaching, is not just for a time of crisis. And I want you guys to know that. It's definitely great for that. Therapy can also be amazing. So it just kind of depends on where your functioning is and stuff. But just like it can also be really great for even if life's feeling pretty smooth. And oftentimes and I know we're going to talk about this, Kelsey, but oftentimes it's actually like right now, Kelsey is doing great. Like I think her life's doing pretty great. She's not in any sort of crisis. And yet she has me in her corner as a coach and as a friend, you know, and I wear the mentor hat sometimes because we're both moms and whatever. And we've been able to have really powerful discussions and conversations about her everyday life and things she wants to improve. And there's that conversation is never done. That's never over. That doesn't mean you always have to have a coach, but yeah, I would just love it if I want to go through your story, but if there's anything in general you want to start out with sharing about coaching, like your feelings about it, and then we can talk about how you first found it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I really do feel like it's for everybody, like no matter where you're at. And I like to say, I even have a podcast episode called like Why My Panic Attack is the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me, because I am really grateful that I really did hit that breaking point and that it led me to coaching, because I am stubborn and I wasn't taking that time until I was forced to. But if somebody can like not have to hit that, you know, maybe save them that $5,000 ER bill or whatever, like if they can like start getting that help to where they don't hit that breaking point and they can start getting that sooner, I think that's a good thing too. So like, it's great for if you find yourself, okay, I absolutely need this support, but it's also like fine to just be like, I want this support. I want things to be better. Like it doesn't have to be a dire need. It can just be a desire in your heart to be like, I want to make sure that my life, and even just being like proactive in it and making sure that you are where you need to be.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this real quick too, as on this topic, is that you know this too, Kelsey, and maybe some of the audience knows, but I genuinely believe that when we are out of alignment with our worth and our value, our body creates symptoms and creates, whether it's chronic pain or mental health issues or whatever it may be, it's sort of a storm, if you will, to wake us up and to yank us in line essentially, and sort of gently force our hand at getting on our life's path that we're meant to be on and be more aligned in our sense of self-worth and value. And so we saw that directly with you. So why don't you go ahead and share what it was like right before you reached out to your friends and family to find somebody to help you with your mental health postpartum?
Yeah. So first, so it was October. It was 5 days after I had Peter, my youngest. He was born October 19th, 2019. And 5 days later, I was in the hospital, convinced I was having a heart attack. And leading up to this, I was like crying. I had not slept like basically at all at this point, just like little micro sleeps is what I would call it. Because like every time I would try to sleep, my body would jolt me awake. Like it was these symptoms that were manifesting because of my anxiety, just like you were mentioning.
Yeah.
But then after that, so like I got on medication. I started working with a therapist first. And those things kind of got me to like a little bit of a baseline where I was like, okay, I'm not like, I wasn't, when I got to you in that January, I wasn't at that point anymore where I was like not sleeping or like, feeling like I wasn't going to the hospital, feeling like I was having a heart attack, but I was still like majorly having issues in my body. Like even when we started working together, like I don't know if you remember this, but I couldn't do like breath work and stuff because breathing was triggering to me, because it was like when I felt like I couldn't breathe when I tried to sleep before and stuff.
Oh my gosh. I
don't know if you remember that.
About that. No, it's true. And that's something I learned when I was getting trauma certified as a coach and becoming trauma informed in my coaching, is some people have had such sort of disconnection between their mind and body that when you try to take them into their body, it can be traumatizing. And so I have learned how to help people create safety around even just the breath. Like, yes, all I'm saying is I completely understand what you're saying, and I had forgotten about that. It's a thing.
Well, and you did a great job with it, because you're like, okay, this isn't working. Let's find something that is working. So like you did a great job with navigating that, but it was just, that is where I was at. And it was that disconnect between my mind and body, but kind of leading to like the in between of like where I found you. It was when I was actually feeling really stressed. It was actually, I was still like, I was functioning more than I was then, not going to the hospital. I was still like not doing that great. And what was happening is I was getting called into the bishop's office, most likely to get a calling, right?
At church, which a calling is like a responsibility in the ward.
Like a responsibility in like our church, and like a free job, basically. Like it's like like a volunteer position. Yeah. But they ask you to a free job. You know what I mean? Volunteer position. That is the word I was looking for, to like do something in the church. And that's something that is normal in the community and everything. but I was just feeling like I cannot do this right now. But I did not have that ability at that time to voice that for myself. So I was feeling really anxious, and I posted it was actually in an LDS moms homeschool group. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I just had a baby. I'm feeling really stressed because I'm getting called in to do a calling, and I just don't feel like I can do that. I don't even remember the exact wording. It was just like a desperate plea, like in this group, kind of like it was like not people I knew, because they didn't even want to admit it to people I knew.
Yeah.
And I got tons of comments. Like, people were so supportive. But one of those comments was from another coach. It was Laura Garn. Is that how you say her name?
Mm-hmm.
And she's actually a homeschool coach, but she commented, she was like, look, listen, whatever you do, you need to reach out to Lizzie Langston. She is a postpartum coach. And I remember it was like, literally like, please, whatever you do, you must do this. Even if you feel like I'm fine, you need this. And that comment just really stuck out to me. And that goes to show, like, a little thing like a Facebook comment can like be such a trajectory, because then I reached out to you and I scheduled a consult, and I was already ready to like sign on for whatever it was at that time, because I really needed the help.
Yeah.
And that was when, at first it was just boxer coaching you were doing. So we did that. And then I signed on 2 more times for coaching, where we also had like the sessions together. And it was just, really what I needed. Like, I feel like, because like I stopped going to that therapist because I was like, it was okay, but I just felt like she wasn't pushing me enough per se. It was more like I felt like she was just sympathizing with me and everything, which again, that's not what all therapists do. That's just like was my experience with that one therapist. But it wasn't like what I needed at that time. Like, it was more like I needed something else. So when I found you and started working with you, that was more what I needed, like helping me actually see, like, what is it I'm actually creating in this situation? Like, actually questioning me, not just saying, oh, that must be hard or whatever,
Yeah.
Like, you were validating too. Like, it's not like you were like invalidating or anything, but it was like, you did kind of like get curious and help me get curious about myself.
Yeah. And how your thoughts were contributing, and other alternative ways of thinking about things.
Yeah.
Especially when you were really afraid, like just with the church calling, for example, right? Like, oh, here's this thing that they might ask me to do. I want to advocate for myself and position my needs and show my needs, but I also feel like a sense of duty or obligation or whatever. And the people-pleasing tendency kind of comes in.
Yeah.
This is just an example. And so, kind of taking you out of the fear, helping you calm your body and really get in touch with your intuition. It's not like I was trying to tell you what to do.
No.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, I'm wondering if like people are curious about like, so with that calling situation, because this was before we started working together, right? Because like we had the consult, and then the call was like, or like we were doing the box or whatever. But like I, at that point, was not able to stand up for myself. I didn't do the calling, but that's because my husband called and told them that I couldn't have a calling at that time. I like would not have gone in. If I would have had to go in and do it myself, I would have said yes, even though, like, because I was still so people pleasing at that time. And
you're not alone.
I just would have,
You're not alone. There's so many women who freeze and do the obligatory yes thing, whether it's for church or your local bake shop, like bring brownies, whatever.
Oh, for
bake sale. Sorry. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay. So you reached out in the Facebook group, you found me, we started coaching. So let's go to like, internally, what was the byproduct for you? Like, how did your world start to change? Both externally, you changing it, and then also just the way you were perceiving it. What started happening, like when you had the right support for yourself?
Well, I think it was even just because so much of what I was doing was completely subconscious. Like, I didn't realize how much I was like people pleasing and then feeling resentment that I was people pleasing.
Right.
But it's because people didn't even know like what I was thinking or whatever. So like I had more awareness of what was actually going on. Not just like my interpretation of what was going on, but like the like circumstances versus thoughts, like that was huge, and how my thoughts were creating what was happening. And then like with the feelings, one thing I feel like you're really good at, even more so than a lot of life coach school certified coaches, is processing feelings. And like, when I was feeling them, like what to do with it.
Yeah.
And really just slowing down to take the time to do that, because I paid for coaching. So it was like, well, I'm going to use this,
Doesn't that sound like a second grade skill that we should be taught?
Yeah,
Like,
it
here's
really
what you
has.
do.
But
Here's what you do when you have these big feelings, and here's what we call them. And yet we kind of gloss over that
yeah.
at least in the public school system. I mean, in fact, my biggest focus with my kindergartner this year, my 5-year-old, is I know that at school he's getting the academics, but
Hmm.
he's not getting the emotional regulation. He has
Yeah.
no clue how to wait, how to be patient. That is so hard. And I don't mean to judge him for that, but it's like,
Oh,
oh,
no.
I'm still totally homeschooling, even though he's public schooled. I am teaching him about, what food does to his body, when he eats a lot of sugar, how it can impact his behavior. And, also just, how to get into the breath. Like one of his requirements sometimes, this is just a fun aside, but one of his things that I require him to do instead of going to timeout is he has to take 5 deep, slow breaths before
Mm.
he can move on from this thing. He has to get his body that calm. And sometimes he'll be like, okay, I did my breaths. And I'm like, nope, let's try again. And he knows what it really has to be. And it's interesting to watch him resist it and fight it and then give
Yeah.
into it and really watch him reset his nervous system in that moment. And I love handing him the power to do that. I don't know why that came to mind, but that's something that I've learned as I have, as an adult, gone back and learned these basic skills. It's become invaluable in the way that I'm able to teach my children. It's crazy. Has that been the case for you?
Yeah, because I feel like I find myself like when kind of like you did when my kids are stressed out, like I tell them to breathe and stuff like that, like take a breath and like, kind of do it with them, like show them what a deep breath looks like,
Yeah.
and it's just different than what a lot of parents would do, which is like escalate it, like if you're yelling or whatever, but it's like,
Yeah.
just take a deep breath. And again,
Yeah.
not judging anybody,
No.
but like,
No, guys,
but yeah,
remember,
it's just,
we all are doing the best we can. So don't judge yourselves.
but I'm not a perfect parent. Like you're probably even better at doing this than me. I want to get even better
No,
at that.
I probably
But
suck
like,
at it.
I feel like that is something that as we learn it, and our kids even learn from examples. So they see us doing it,
Okay.
then they
Yeah.
learn like from that too. And then we're able to teach them those skills as well.
Yeah. And I have to say, you guys, that I used to be the parent that I would get all the books on Audible and I would listen to them, and I was pretty into self-help even before finding coaching, but there's something about you learning how to do it first and having the total complete focus on on yourself that really has the effect that we think reading books about it is going to have.
Yeah.
I would, first of all, I would get lost in either shame and mom guilt, like, oh, I'm not doing all these great ideas that these parenting experts are telling me.
Right.
And so I was turned off. And then also like, I would logically understand it, but not be able to emotionally like carry it out in real time. And I think that's when I coach people, and especially with my online course, like the Postpartum Freedom course, I'm literally like teaching you how to do it in your body. And so then you become a walking book for your kids. Like you don't have to, you know what I mean? It's just different.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. Okay. So naturally you started having more awareness of your thoughts, taking more responsibility of how you might be contributing, but also in a very gentle way, getting curious, processing thoughts, or sorry, not processing thoughts. I mean, yes, that, but processing emotions. So what naturally followed? Like, how did you start doing things differently? Like, what were some of the fruits of coaching and of, having this time set aside each week or every so often, or even, again, I'm thinking if you guys were to purchase like my online course, when you stop your life and you take a moment to think meta, like big about your daily life, and you do that, like what started happening for you? Yeah. Tell me.
So I feel like I was way more able to identify what my own needs were, because I feel like, and the name of my company is Wife, Teacher, Mommy. And I really lean into that. Like, a lot of times we're like a wife, we're a teacher, we're a mom, or all these other roles. And we lean so much into what everybody else needs from us that we don't look at what we need ourselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like with coaching, that was like a purposeful time. Like for us, it was like, we had these sessions where it was like, I had to take that time because it was like on the calendar. So it's like, we did that. And
yeah,
with talking through it, but also just the awareness outside of it too. So like, even if you're just watching a course and getting that awareness, because so much of it happens outside of it, just from learning these tools. So I was able to identify ways I needed more support, like in my business, in my life, and identify things that were working, things that weren't, taking more time for what I truly needed, less people pleasing, cleaner relationships, because I realized that resentment that I was feeling wasn't because of what they were doing, but it's because of what I was thinking, because of the people pleasing that I was doing. Like I was actually causing that resentment. It wasn't like, oh, they were doing this, so now I'm feeling resentful because of it. I feel like that was huge. And like, I feel like that's a huge marriage thing for a lot of people. And then just, be more honest and genuine in relationships, like even with like, talking to neighbors about things or talking to like other people in the community or whatever, just so many different things, and getting the support I needed in my business, like, getting full-time employees to like help take on some of the stress I was feeling because I was just taking on too much myself.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. And I think for sake of time, we may not go into all of the pivoting and amazing navigating you did of your business, but just a brief overview I want to give you guys is Kelsey's business was severely threatened by the pandemic, like many people's businesses were, my husband's business included. She serves teachers, right? At the time, she only exclusively served teachers. The pandemic happens, schools are closed, teachers don't need her resources right then anymore, not really. And
especially because the ones that were top selling were sub plans,
Yeah, her top selling products were substitute plans, which school needed to be in session. So, and she was she is to this day the full-time provider. Her business is her family's income and livelihood. Mm-hmm. And so, we had been working together at that point for how long do you think?
So when the pandemic happened, it was January. So it was only like 2 months.
Oh, like, really? Was it?
Pandemic was March. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's cool. Because
it was just in time.
I am so glad you started before that happened. Let me just tell you, because we were able to get a foundation of not just our relationship, but of, some of the basic teachings. We were able to get your mind and body connected and get you back connected to your intuition, because I remember very distinctly, at the time we were doing phone call coaching and I was walking around the cul-de-sac in front of my house. It was a beautiful day and we were talking, and I felt so led to just lean back in the conversation and ask you questions. And you literally navigated the pandemic and you pivoted and began then offering digital resources as well as homeschool stuff. Tell us just a little bit about, that. What did you end up doing and how was that?
So, we converted a lot of our resources to digital, and we started running ads to like homeschool parents and created like home learning packets. So these were new things that we were creating, kind of repurposing from some things we had, but we were making new stuff to fit the current needs. And we had to like jump in and do that pretty quickly. And so we had to like get through that mind drama of like, okay, what do we do next? And instead of just sitting in that and wallowing in it, we had to like be able to take action on that. And the coaching is definitely what really helped me with that, because I did even still continue. Like, it's not like, and you get coaching and all of a sudden like, everything's handy dandy.
No.
But like, you were able to help me navigate, because I continued still to have worries about the money dropping and everything. And because I'm providing for my family. So, and
you were able to identify in a session together that you actually needed business support at that time. And you hired a business coach.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was able to say, hey, I'm not a business coach, and I can see that these topics are being brought up a lot in our sessions. And I definitely do not dare to tell you some of these things, what to do. That's not my hat that I wear. I'm not that kind of a coach. And so you were able to go get the right support for your business. And then you had a personal coach and a business coach. So then you went and got certified eventually and decided to bring coaching into your membership. First of all, you started a membership, and then that was big, and a podcast. So you started to, like, your business sort of took a whole different shape as your mind started to take a new shape. And as you got a really secure connection between your mind and body, you also started getting a more fine-tuned connection between your life and your business. And you got support in both places. And when you did that, you were able to really just have a sharp eye as a CEO. I watched you like transform. And there were still anxieties about money or about how is this launch going to go, or there's this issue with ads or whatever, but you like didn't get so deeply hung up on things. And I even think to this day, that's something that every now and then you get caught up on things, but you identify it, and you know how it feels to do that, because you have not done it before. You've been so much more in the flow, and like things will work out, and you've managed your anxiety. And so I think you just make faster decisions now in your business, honestly. Yeah. I think you're very perceptive about knowing when you need to hire and when you might need to hire, but it's not the right time financially. You've just really up-leveled as a CEO. It's been very, very fun to watch for me. And I'm not your business coach. I've just been able to see this from the side and also as a friend and a fellow business owner. And so now you went November 2022, you go and get a life coaching certification, right?
Yeah. So the way this kind of went down is like, you're kind of like, why am I doing coaching when we have like the resources? But it's like with the membership, we like added this event. And then as I was asking teachers and parents like what it was they needed, I realized they did not know these coaching tools. And I'm like, oh, like,
and they were burnt out and they were struggling.
They were burnt out. They were so burnt out. And so I'm like, I see it with this lens that they can't see because they don't know these tools. So I really wanted them to have that. So that's when we decided to add coaching to the membership. I signed up for certification. And I finished that February of this year. So yeah, it's
so
been
she's a
really
coach,
fun
people.
Adventure.
She's a coach.
I'm a certified coach, and I never would have thought that. Even like when we started working together, I was like, oh, I love these tools. Yeah. But I have my printable business. So that's what I do. I do printables. But then it was when I realized teachers and homeschool parents, they need so much more than just printables. They might think that printables are what they need. Like, oh, like these printables will save me time, and it's just time. Time is the problem, but it's not just time is the problem. It's like our minds and our bodies and that disconnection. And there's so much more that goes into it. And I wanted to be able to support them in a bigger way. So the fact that I got this support is now making it so I can support all these teachers. And we just got glowing reviews at our event and people in our coaching. They're just like really excited about it. So I'm glad that we're doing it all again and able to support more of them. But it's really all because I worked with you and learned the coaching tools and then the other coaches and, doing that certification and everything. It's like this big ripple effect. Yeah. That all started with that Facebook comment when I was stressed out in a Facebook group.
Yes. And I think you and I have something in common. And I want to share this with everybody because it's common with some of you guys as well, which is that a mental health crisis actually led to this complete reawakening and this like, oh, actually, this is who I want to be in the world. And I just want to put out there, I think both of us want to just say that if you are in the middle of something really thick and heavy, like postpartum anxiety, postpartum depressiveness, or you're just not feeling right and well in your motherhood, I just want you to know that it is possible that this difficult, challenging time, remember, our bodies are always guiding us, like our symptoms and our pain signals and all of these things that come up. My belief is that it's communication and it's actually your body's working with you to get you where you need to be. And so just trust in the process, stop fighting it, stop resisting it, lean in. And hopefully my story as well as Kelsey's story can give you a little bit of more reason to hope and trust that something wonderful could be on the other side of this challenging time for you.
Yes. And I really believe that like for everybody, there is something wonderful and it looks different for everyone. Like not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur and have a business or whatever. It might just be like amazing family changes, which I saw through coaching too. Like so many incredible things that happened that made my family life better and my relationship with myself. So yeah, it's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And the way you take care of your body and like the way you've slowed down, the way you have better boundaries with your work in your life. And it's so challenging to be a full-time CEO, and then also a mom and a wife. Like they're just such different roles. And you really getting your pretend your nervous system was a muscle. I feel like you've gotten it toned. Yeah. Like it's very toned now and it has a nice shape and a contour and like you use it so often that it doesn't feel difficult when you pick up the weights, right? And so what the weights of the nervous system would be like stress or unexpected life events or arguments with somebody or anything that kind of activates your nervous system or a trigger or, and I just feel like you handle those so much faster. And the goal here isn't perfection, by the way, for anybody, but it's losing less time, less sleep, and less health to life's ups and downs and being able to recover faster, be more resilient, make more powerful decisions, and be more authentic and standing in who you are and figuring out who that is, which I think really you figuring out who you were was a huge part of what happened when you were coaching as well.
Absolutely. And like you said, I still have things like that's why I'm still working with you and everything. We're always going to be human, but it's really about how quickly we're able to bounce back. Yeah. And like, bounce back from failure or from like, anxiety or whatever is going on.
Or sometimes the other side of coaching is having patience when you're not bouncing back as fast as you think you should.
Very true.
And self-compassion. That's a huge part of, especially my version of coaching is very, very, very like, how can we accept this experience as it is? How can we have compassion with the stuckness we're still experiencing? Yeah. And surrendering to the challenges that kind of get you. So yeah, all of that, you guys, by the way, if you want these tools, everything I've taught Kelsey, I'm not joking. Like I can't think of one thing that I've taught Kelsey that's not in my online course. So real quick, I just want to put in a plug. It's available right now, LizzieLangston.com/course. It has all of the basic nervous system tools. It's developed for postpartum women, but it works for any mother at any point in her motherhood that just wants more control and connection over her mind and body. She wants to feel more calm. She wants to feel more able to find her center. And then Kelsey, can you just tell us a little bit about the event that Wife Teacher Mommy's doing? I will be doing some yoga with your event, so I'm excited, and some meditation. And then where people can find you and learn a little bit more about you or your business, however they're interested.
Yeah, so we are doing an amazing event called Educate and Rejuvenate. This will be our second year. The first year, we just got such glowing testimonials from it. We're so excited to do it again. Over 3,000 teachers attended, and we just launched again. We have keynotes from Joe Dombrowski, who's Mr. D. I don't know, did you ever see that video of like the teacher doing the April Fool's prank spelling test? It was like a total viral video.
Oh, yes. I did see that.
Yeah. So he's one of the keynotes. And then Christina Kuzmich, do you know her?
No.
Okay. Well, she is amazing. She's like a video creator and author and everything. She specifically talks to moms. So you're all going to love her. There are keynotes. And then we have over 70 speakers who are doing pre-recorded sessions. We have a parent track and a teacher track. So if you're a parent, you can like stick with the parent videos if you want. If you're also a teacher, like if you happen to be listening and you're a teacher, definitely check out the teacher track. But it's going to be a really good time. Lizzie's doing her yoga meditation. So if you love Lizzie, and then on the other day, we've got like a step it workout. So we've got like kind of the balance of like, intense workout and then meditative yoga workout. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be doing some coaching there. It's just going to be a really well-rounded, it's all about a well-rounded teaching experience because like you're going to learn all these different things about teaching math or reading or language arts, but also like coaching and how to tackle burnout and then like the workouts for your body and everything. So it's just like we try to bring it all together.
Yeah, I think your organization does such a good job at treating teachers like all of what they are. They're not just teachers. You're not just getting a teacher training. You're getting tools to help your life and the other hats that you wear. And I think that because Kelsey's really lived it, she really gets it. So definitely check it out. Recommend it to your teacher friend. I'm going to put all the links in the show notes. So we'll get you the link for the event where you can sign up or share it with friends. And then what's your handle on Instagram?
So it's Wife Teacher Mommy on all the platforms. So Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We have a Facebook group called Wife Teacher Mommies Unite. And then my podcast is Wife Teacher Mommy, the podcast. So if you're here, you love podcasts. So I would love if you hop over to mine and check it out too.
Yeah. Yes.
I feel like you can never have too many awesome podcasts.
Right. Yeah. Especially, and you guys share with the teachers in your life because her business is like, I feel like it's really unparalleled in the support they give to teachers. So Kelsey, thank you so much. It's been such an honor to be able to work with you. We're working together again. This is so fun. I feel like I see you all the time now because we have sessions and we're doing interviews and we went to Taylor Swift together. That's true. So thanks again for being here, you guys. Go get support. Figure it out. What do you need? Initiate these conversations with your loved ones and really make yourself a priority. And you never know what can happen because of it. And if you are going through a hard time, this is your sign. Go get the support you need. Don't hesitate. Don't hold back. Okay. My online course, LizzieLangston.com/course. So we love you, Kelsey. Thanks for coming. And we'll talk to you guys later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hey, Lizzie here. I've helped dozens of postpartum moms just like you to manage their postpartum anxiety and deconstruct their postpartum depression. It's really easy for me.
Go to LizzieLangston.com/course to get my online course. And if you want some more help from there, we can do some private coaching. And don't forget to leave my podcast a written review. It helps other moms find this work. Love you guys.